This one is about the Quagmire. The Quagmire is, they're in a Quagmire now. That was my previous video, right? There's no way out of that. No ceasefire. I've called for the ceasefires. I've called for the negotiations. That won't happen for various reasons. Hamas is not necessarily a coordinated group, especially now, because now Israel and the West, supporting them and all their supporters, have created thousands, 10,000 new jihadists, brothers of brothers who got killed, sons of mothers, fathers of sons and daughters who've been killed in Gaza. Most of them, many of them, not all of them obviously, but there's tens of thousands you've made now. You're making, in the process of making tens and thousands of jihadists, right? This is not the main point of my video, right? I'm just trying to make this Quagmire point, because that's what it is. I'm the one that called it. It's a Quagmire, and we're the only ones that know the way out. Some of us, none of you. So I'll say that talk about that in another video. So I'm a bit strong on this because, you know, I'm tired of having to listen to ignorant people all the time. We have the solutions. We've had them for decades. No amount of me being nice about it is going to change you. Reason, logic, rationale, clear proofs and evidence-based scientific research should be the thing, not whether I'm a nice guy or not, or if I've got long hair. I don't care about people who judge others by the way they look. So I'm a little inflamed this morning. Got my coffee here. And no, so the Quagmire is in. You've created tens of thousands of new jihadists. They will not stop. Okay, if you create 10,000, you might get 1,000 out of that who are determined and they will not stop. There's nothing you could do. Negotiations, ceasefires, it's over. You blew the heads off their babies, right? And then that whole war propaganda that happens every single time, almost my whole life, as far as I can remember, 1990, heads, sorry, not heads, that's this one, 40 babies thrown out of incubators. That was the headline, by a 15-year-old girl who told Congress that. Went all over the news. BBC reporter was the first, I think, to report on it. And later on he said it was his biggest mistake. Well, that's just not a big mistake. That means you should be out of the business. And I don't know if he is by now, but no, that was all made up. Total lie. To discredit the other side. It's what has been going on forever. And everyone, all of you know this. You all know that the victors write history, or whoever gets to write the history will tell it from a biased, prejudiced point of view. Especially now, we know that people lie in wars all the time. There were no WMDs in Iraq. There were no 40 babies with their heads chopped. Oh, sorry, keep getting that one mixed up. 40 babies thrown out of incubators. That was the headline. 40 babies thrown out of incubators in Kuwait in 1991. Right? It was a lie, made up. So go look that up if you don't know what I'm talking about. But the current headline just a couple of weeks ago was 40 babies. Again, is this a code? Does this 40 mean something? I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but that's just a weird coincidence. Look up the headlines. 40 babies with their heads chopped off. That was made up. Babies being put in ovens to burn. That's all made up. It's nonsense. People just don't do that. Okay, there might be a bad apple. Some bad apples in every military. The Russians, Russians raping women and children back in March 2022. You could see through that in a nanosecond. WMDs in Iraq, you name it, it goes on and on. Rethink every war you've heard of in the last few decades. Rethink about what was really going on. I mean, the Gulf of Tonkin, well, there's a lot of fuzziness around that. You can't really tell what happened there, but it seems like it was blamed on the Vietnamese attacking Americans. Turns out it wasn't, right? There's a lot of haziness around that story, but we can't tell. I certainly can't. Either way, it turned into that. And any other war you want to talk about? Libya? Well, was Gaddafi going to really kill off all the people in the south? Well, that's what you were told. So they killed him off. And Hillary Clinton laughed about it. Haha, we went, we saw, we killed him. Gaddafi, right? So I don't even know. Relook at that war and the propaganda around it. Certainly look again carefully at the first Gulf War, the second Gulf War, Libya, Ukraine, with a new mindset, and that is all you get is massive, unbridled mass hysteria and war propaganda going across the world, and ending up in what are supposed to be credible news sources. So in this case, 40 babies with the heads chopped off was a lie. It's made up by one guy who's extremely anti-Palestinian. He's in the military apparently, and he's literally he's called for the destruction. Apparently, he's called for the genocide of Palestinians in the past, something like that. So he just said it to one reporter in Israel, and she reported it, that as if it was true. So you're seeing a lot of other stuff come out of Israel directly from the IDF that's sort of laughable. We are really looking at a lot of propaganda, but that's not the point here. The point is it's a quagmire. You're not coming out with your negotiations and your ceasefire. I suggest we do that. You, the Israelis and Gazans, Hamas, I suggest you do, but it won't work. Let's get real. No amount of fighting them will work. No amount of continuing this war will work. No amount of pulling back a little bit will work. It's already too late. And so it's too late. The quagmire is in. And that's it. So I wouldn't bother trying to find solutions, except through the solutions that people like me have, which I don't know if the human brain is currently able to comprehend what that is. The human brain is in a state of extreme blindness, and I mean collectively, everyone. But that will change, and then people will start to listen. Maybe not to me, but someone like me. So, who's saying the same things in a nicer way, hopefully. Because I'm just fed up trying to say these things, and I don't really respect people that can't listen to rationale, logic, obvious truths, and objective science. So, it's one thing to question science. You should, but you shouldn't just dismiss it just because it doesn't fit your beliefs. You should go into it and find out what the reality is. What is the reality, and why is that reality important to know? I'm not going to get into that because that's when I get off on these tangents. So the first part of this is the quagmire is in. And maybe I'll come back to that.